Hey, look. Once upon a time, there was a woodpecker. But his beak was too dull to really get through a lot of the wood. His beak was just duller than a lot of the other woodpeckers. And so this guy, he uh he got picked on by the other woodpeckers. They did not fuck with his ass, and he got no bitches. He got no bitches, bro. And nobody fucked with him. He had no friends either. Because his woodpecker, his beak was duller than the other birds. It was just wasn't. It didn't get to the fucking source of the tree like they did. It wasn't. He when he pecked at a tree, it took him time. It took him time and effort, and he would he would pay attention to how he was molding the tree that he was pecking. These other guys, they had sharp beaks. They just get through the wood just like that and hop off and go to the next tree. Our boy, he would sit on a tree and carve at it with his dull beak, for days. Or how does it go? How does a pecker sound? Wait. Something like that. Oh, and so he decided to sign up for the annual um, talent show where he was going to carve something for the talent show. Um, a lot of the other guys, woodpeckers, had cool stuff that they were going to do with their beaks. Like, one guy wanted to show how quickly he could pop a bunch of balloons. Another guy wanted to show how hard of wood he could chop through with his beak. Another guy wanted to show just how aerodynamic he was, flying, how fast he could go. But our woodpecker, since it took him so long just to get through little pieces of wood, and since he would take his time and pay attention, he decided he would carve something out of wood. And so he went to a tree and he sat there and he thought, what should I carve? And he looked down. Chapter 2. There was a man who lived in a cabin. And he loved woodpeckers. He loved listening to woodpeckers. He would go out on his porch and listen to woodpeckers. He lived so far away from anybody that he could hear them, deep in the woods. And he'd go out there and he'd sit and he'd wait for woodpeckers and he'd listen to woodpeckers and he loved it. And on this particular occasion, his cousin had come, or not his cousin, his little grandnephew had came up, and his grandnephew was staying with him, and his grandnephew had a airsoft gun, BB gun, pellet gun, and grandpa said, "All right, you can shoot anything, but don't shoot woodpeckers." Chapter 3. Now, this woodpecker, he carved what some might say only Leonardo da Vinci himself as a man could carve. I'm talking carvings like Michelangelo, like should be in the Vatican. Yeah. And he was all prepared to bring it to the talent show. The talent show was that night. And here comes Grandpap's little grandnephew with his BB gun, his pellet gun. Just what his grandpap said, don't shoot. Down goes our boy, Woodpecker. Special guy. Now, some people say that here on earth, if you're suffering, you're in a state of hell. You're in hell, and they call that hell. Little Woodpecker was in hell, and if he had made it to graduation, to the show, and if he had showed off his Da Vinci level works, you'd say, oh, well, now he's in heaven. He did a good job. Everybody loves him now. He's selling his works. He's made it. He's in heaven now. You'd say before that he was in hell because he was suffering. But now he made it, now he's in heaven. Well, what if he got shot down before he made it to that ceremony? What if his entire existence was just hell? Then what? Well, the point is, that's not what hell is. Hell is what comes after. In life, if you're suffering, that's good. Just make sure it's for God. Make sure when you're suffering, you're accounting for the fact that Jesus Christ suffered. And when you're suffering, you're merely being able to take part in something that Jesus felt. You feel it yourself. Don't think, oh, I'm suffering, so that means I'm in hell. No, hell's something entirely worse than anything we could feel here on earth. Just focus on the fact that we're going to heaven. That's what you really gotta have your faith in. Don't put your faith in things of this world like, oh, God's gonna give me a car, or God's gonna give me money, or success, or a girlfriend. Put your faith in God's gonna give me heaven. And don't put your faith in I'm righteous. Put your faith in God created me righteously. Don't be thinking I'm so good. Think God created me good in a good way when he was doing good things. Okay. Chapter 4. So grandnephew had a sister, and his sister practiced witchcraft. She was one of those. She was an older sister. She was like 17, and she was witchy. And grandnephew didn't want to get in trouble with grandpappy, so he took this little special mockingbird over to witchy sister and said, please, can you bring it back? Can you bring it back? Grandpappy's gonna kill me. She said, okay, I'll try. Well, she went on messing with things you shouldn't mess with. She did something that led to something good in her eyes. Oh, she revived it. But she shouldn't have been messing around with all that stuff, because out of all that comes evil. And what ended up happening is she brought back that mockingbird, and he was never supposed to come back, because when he went to heaven, God said, yo, you suffered in life. You were in, not hell. We don't call it hell. We call it suffering. He said, you were suffering, and you were suffering for me, and you wanted to be there for me, and you loved me. And I saw your sufferings, and I'm giving you a blessed heaven, afterlife, right? That's what we hope for. But this witch, she brought him back. So he was all finally made it, appreciated for his sufferings. One with God again. She brought him back. He came back. What's going on? I wasn't supposed to be here. Now it's the day of the talent show. He brings his carvings, but the carvings are, they all come to life, just like he was reincarnated, and they start attacking all the other woodpeckers, and it's like Five Nights at Freddy's. The end. That's why you don't practice witchcraft. And here's two things, if you're a Christian watching. So we know God says don't get into witchcraft, magic and whatnots, right? But he also says don't get into astrology and, oh, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Virgo. He says don't do that. Okay, but here's another one, and this is the third tertiary level. He says, or we're not really even supposed to be meditating. That's a Buddhist tradition. When you're meditating, when you're clearing out your head, you see Satan can do things that make you feel good, but it doesn't mean it's good. When you're clearing out your head, you're just leaving room for whatever to come in. What God wants us to do is a form of prayer. It's thinking, it's having a train of thought, a prayerful minded thought, holy thought, a train of thought. He says go do that. Don't go sit down and practice Buddhist meditation, you see? So don't do witchcraft, easy, top of the iceberg. Middle of the iceberg, astrology. We all know in the Bible, don't be practicing. That's for girls. But now this deeper layer is you really shouldn't even be out here like meditating and doing all these yogas and these foreign pagan, or not pagan, but like foreign rituals and whatnots. If you're a Christian watching, what good that is.